The Milestones series on recovery, tracking the milestones of the recovery world, chronicling the industry leaders, revealing their insights. Milestones, saving families, saving lives.
Pat, you have a wonderful history with the Salvation Army and as an interventionist. Tell us about your work with the Salvation Army.
Well, I went to the Salvation Army when interventions were kind of getting less and less because the treatment centers were closing down. The hospitals were closed down when managed care came in. And I wasn't doing a lot of interventions, and I went down to the Salvation Army thinking that possibly I had something to help them with as far as classes were concerned, because I had done a lot of extensive training on family systemic work and so forth. And when I got there and met the people that were running it, I just knew that it was someplace I needed to be. The element of people who come in are very wounded and they've been thrown to the curb. And it's like their last chance, or the judge will say, you know, this is a nudge from the judge, last chance, or you go off to prison. And I found it to be very challenging and very exciting. So I was there for 7.5 years. It spent great deal of time working with families, and the overall Salvation Army in itself really wants to help people with addictions, people with family problems, people with poverty, and so I really got hooked into that, and I just loved it.
So what is an interventionist?
An interventionist is a person who helps a family to identify a problem and identify if the problem is bad enough to bring a professional in so that the person can look at whether or not they have a problem. And there's a lot of denial in families with addictions.
When you say denial within the families, you mean it's not just the person that has the problem that's in denial, it's the entire family?
The entire family. In fact, the entire family probably has more denial than the actual person who's addicted.
Why is that?
Because they don't want to believe that someone that they have watched daily or weekly, if it's a child, for instance, they see them growing up, they don't want to see that there's a problem. They want to fix it. They want to have it go away. They want something simple to happen. And when it doesn't, then they call on someone professionally to help them out.
So someone picks up the phone and calls someone such as yourself and says, Pat, we need an intervention here.
Yes.
What do you do there?
Well, I do personally about a 2.5-hour assessment to find out if what they're telling me is really something I want to walk into. Sometimes there's domestic violence. Sometimes it's more serious. There might be child abuse. There could be a whole number of dynamics that I wouldn't do an intervention with. If it is some type of an addiction, alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, then I will do this assessment and find out whether or not the family's willing to be cooperative with what my expectations are. And then I'll go and meet with the family and do some education and help them to understand what the result is going to be. And the entire family needs to get help. So I usually tell them, you need to go to Al-Anon meetings, you need to go to codependency meetings until we meet, so that you can also have a support group, because it's important everybody have a support group.
So real intervention is not what we often think, which is here comes an expert, an interventionist such as yourself, who's basically can convince that individual, you have a problem, go get help. You're actually saying, I come to the family and I say, you all need help.
Yes.
You have the biggest problem, but you're all part of the problem.
Right. And the alcoholic doesn't always have the biggest problem. It could be one person in the family that has the bigger problem because they won't let go of the other person and let them go out and do what they need to do in order to find out that they're having a problem.
So an interventionist is not what we usually think of someone arriving to the family and pinpointing one person and saying, you've got the problem, you need to change. You're saying an interventionist comes and tells the entire family that they all need to change. They all need help.
Yes, yes. And the family has to be willing to do something, or if this person comes home and the family hasn't changed, then nothing will change with the addict alcoholic either.
Pat, what is it about an interventionist that makes him or her unique, powerful, and effective?
I think that we have to be very creative Every intervention is entirely different. We cannot walk into a family and expect to have the same results every time, nor can we expect to have the same dynamics. So we have to know the family very well, know the history, know our boundaries. Most of us are in our own recovery, so we know how to set boundaries. We also know how to tell people assertively what they need to do.
So is it about being tough, or is it about being compassionate, or is it about being both?
It's both, and I think the compassion automatically comes out because we know that someone in the family may die, someone may lose a job, something serious may happen. So that compassion always comes out. But it's also about letting the family know that you're taking a risk as an interventionist because you don't know what the result's going to be, and they're taking a risk as the family because they don't know the result.
How do you convince someone who's usually in denial, which is why they have a problem, how do you convince them that they need to get help?
I think that we try to touch on the important things in that person's life. So if they have a child, if they have a spouse, if they have a parent, or a job that is really important to them, and the boss might be there, then the boss would be the one that would be the clinger. And he may say something to them about, if you don't do this, you may lose your job.
What do you see new happening within the industry that really excites you?
The first thing is people are in treatment longer. A lot of people would do a 28-day program and everybody would expect them to come out and be able to go on and do their business like they did before, but their brain isn't even clear of the drugs yet. So now that we're doing 90 days or possibly even 6 months with extended care, then that's helping the people to have more success. That's exciting. The second thing that's exciting is that it's more important today to be an ethical person. For a while, there were many people in the field that were doing a lot of things that were not ethical. Today, we're coming back to our roots, and the people that are doing the right thing for the right reasons are coming to the top.
Well, and obviously the beneficiary of that is the person that's in recovery.
Yes.
Just briefly, what do you think is the motivation behind that? Why are we finding that people are being more ethical today, which we wouldn't expect?
I think that treatment centers have found out the motives from some professionals, and they're not calling them any longer to do interventions for them or hiring them on staff. I think also that families have realized that they have a lot of choices. They go online and they see the background of the people and they see the amount of training that people have, and they'd be more apt to invite someone who was skilled and trained and had a good reputation.
So are you saying that in fact the standard within the industry by itself is actually being raised?
I am thinking it is, and I'm hoping I'm right.
And how important is collaboration within the industry?
Very important. Very important.
In what way?
Most important, as an interventionist, I need to find the right place for the person. So whether it be a person who's third time in treatment, or the first time, or if it's a family member who needs to go to treatment, I need to find the right placement. And you do that by going around, touring, talking to people, seeing what the treatment center has to offer. And then you give the family 3 choices, and then you let them make that ultimate choice.
So what is it about Milestones Ranch Malibu that might say to you, this is a choice for you, the client?
Well, I've had a number of clients here, and each one convinced me more of the type of clients that I would send here because they've done an outstanding job with every one of the clients that I've had. And it's the tough ones. It's the ones that haven't succeeded someplace else. It's the ones that are chronic relapsers. It's the one whose families need extensive help, and the counselors here can give them that. I just always think of the really toughest cases I have come here, and have great results.
Is there also something else that you believe that is unique and special to Milestones Ranch Malibu?
I think that the director, Denise, spends a lot of time training all of her employees. She wants this place to be different than some of the other places, and stellar. That's really the word I think of when I think of her. She's a stellar person, and I would have confidence in sending anybody here. In a lot of places, I am not positive.
That's a very powerful testimonial when an interventionist says, I have confidence in sending people here. Pat, for what are you grateful for in your life?
First of all, my sobriety. I will have 30 years in June. I'm very grateful for my health. I am not going to tell you my age, but I'm very healthy for my age. My husband, I have the best husband in the world, and I'm grateful that I'm in this industry because it keeps me alive and young and able to see the miracles that can happen in our lives. I'm very grateful for that.
How can we, or you as a professional, even add more to the industry and bring about even better change?
I really reach out to people without any intention of having them hire me. I talk to a lot of people on the phone. I give them referrals to other interventionists if they're in Florida or New York and I don't want to go there. I spend a lot of time just networking, finding out what is continuing to be, good for us out there.
You haven't summed that up well enough for you yet because you haven't received the credit that you deserve. When you say, well, I do this and I do that, what you're really saying is, I think first of what's in the best interest of the client. Mm-hmm. My service is actually selfless because I'm not thinking, oh, let me get some more business. I'm thinking, how can I help this person? And that's what makes you unique and special and is a wonderful gift to not only the people within the industry, but obviously to people in recovery and to other addicts. Mm-hmm. What's your hope for the future, Pat?
Well, I'm semi-retired now, and so I'd like to stay there, although I have a hard time not keeping my fingers in something.
Because you love giving.
I love it. I do love it.
You love serving.
Yes. But I also want to have that balance, because that's where I'm at in my life right now, is being able to have the balance, do what I want when I want to do it. And I've done some trainings here at Milestone. I enjoy doing that type of thing, and I'd like to continue interventions once in a while. A family that I really feel that I could help personally, and make sure that I'm being able to be, again, creative with that family and make a difference.
How do you describe your relationship with Milestones Ranch, Malibu?
Our relationship's very unique. I started here by having clients come here. I did a little bit of recovery coaching with a couple of the clients, and then I saw the inner works and talked to Denise and asked if there was a possibility of me doing some training with the staff. And she was very open to it. So I have come up and done trainings, and I love the excitement, the enthusiasm. I love the camaraderie that's here and the hunger to be better with the counselors and everyone from Denise down.
And you teach assertiveness, correct?
I teach assertiveness training. I've taught codependency. We've done workshops on our mission here at Milestones, and everybody did a mission statement. And we've done some really good things.
Well, if I may be assertive to take this opportunity on behalf of all the people that haven't had the chance to thank you and to recognize and validate the selfless service and the wonderful work that you've done, and to say thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Pat.
it.
Thank you.